What's up, guys? Today we're going to be explaining what mapping is for those of you who do not know. So first off, we're going to show you what is in my back.
Alright everyone, here's Talon's back. Oh, hold up your shirt, Talon, if you can. Down here is where the stimulator device is. It's a device about that big around, and it really is a miniature computer in there that processes a lot of information, and also the battery. There is a wire that runs up to the electrode, which is right in this area here, and that is basically right on the outside of his spinal cord. I'm not quite sure how they mount it on there, but they do. And then up here was a third incision they had to make in Talon's case. His spinal cord, after his injury, had developed a sac of fluid on the outside of the spinal cord, or maybe even the inside, but it was a sac of fluid that would inhibit the brain signals from going down the spinal cord. So basically the way the stimulator works is when you have a spinal cord injury, the theory is some percentage of your natural brain signal does get through the injury site on the spinal cord. They don't know what that percentage is. It might be 0.5%, it might be 1, it might be 5, it might be 10. But regardless, it's a limited amount of signal going from your brain through the injury site, and generally scar tissue is what inhibits that signal from going down your spinal cord. In this case, it would be the scar tissue and also the fluid. So they ended up having to go in on Talon's case and draining that fluid out. And while they were in there, they went ahead and did a direct injection of stem cells as well. So the theory is now, whatever that limited amount of brain signal that goes down through the injury site, down the spinal cord, obviously isn't enough to trigger, well, everything. Legs, feet, abs, lower back, everything beneath the injury site. But the theory is that limited amount that goes down now, it gets down there, and what the electrodes do is they basically amplify that signal. So what happens is this computer, it's virtually limitless. 20 million, 30 million different scenarios that you can do by varying the power, varying the frequency, everything on the stimulator. So basically, mapping is they're literally trying to find something that works. So, and matching up a frequency and a strength signal where it will match up with the brain signal coming down through the injured spinal cord.
And as he said, there's also like millions and millions and millions of combos which might work and which don't work. Typically, most of them do not work, and they look for the one program that does work, and they end up just tweaking that program even more and more times till they can get to perfection. And it can just keep getting more perfect and perfect as they do more mapping.
So what happens, one other thing I think that's very pertinent here, you all have seen a lot of videos of Talon moving his feet, moving his legs, lifting his legs, all motions that will eventually translate over to a walking form would be the hope. What you don't see when you see those things are, they are literally, in the 4 or 5 hours of mapping a day, hundreds, 1,000 different things they're trying, and all of a sudden there'll be a small movement in some part of his foot, his leg, or whatever, and so then they'll hone in on that. Once you get it honed in, though, and you find it, you can tweak it and continue to change things around to make it more powerful, more smooth, more normal-like as far as the movement goes. So, and at that point in time, you've got the program, it's in the computer, so when you shut it off, you come back the next day, you turn on the stimulator, you go to that, boom, it's there, you're right back where you started. That particular motion works just like it did the day before.
Well, another complicated thing about that is not all programs do work the second day. They want to make sure they keep in the same program, and if it's for more than 10 days straight, they say that that's the program they're going to use. So they might not work the next day.
Really?
And also, yes, and also being sick or anything like that can it can mess it up and make the stimulator not work as well. And then another thing about mapping is that, like, when I move a foot or my leg, I don't actually feel it, which feels weird. It's kind of just happens. And most motions are not triggered by my thoughts. It's typically by the way I twist or breathe in and lean back. But then the more we practice that program, it trains my brain to be able to do that movement just by thinking it. So that does take a while sometimes, but it's been pretty successful so far, and I'm having better control of that stuff.
You heard it from the source.